Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. So the Video Game Awards is over. All of our expectations basically were not in a sense met. In fact, I think I would say surpassed depending on the context you look at it. So my video basically, Gotham Knights did not make it to the Video Game Awards, but we had Suicide Squad and we had the pleasure of seeing Princess Diana pretty much show us exactly what it is they've been doing in terms of cooking up a game for her. Now, one of the really cool things that a lot of people in the gaming community have been saying for the longest time is Wonder Woman more than likely deserved the game, and I think a long time ago. Now, the very important thing about this is not just the fact that we have a Wonder Woman game. The fact is we have Wonder Woman both revealed in Suicide Squad in some sense, and we don't know if that Wonder Woman is going to kind of cross over into the Wonder Woman game in some sort of a parlay with what Rocksteady is doing. But more importantly is that Monolith is actually making this game. Now, here's the beautiful thing of all the beautiful things about this game is that this looks like a single player game. And that is so relieving because honestly, it's been very difficult and challenging to kind of understand what Warner Brothers has been trying to do with a lot of their DC characters. I mean, Gotham Knights is a two-player co-op game, and then you have Suicide Squad, which is some sort of an arena four-person shooter mission structure. And so everyone was kind of like, man, what's going on? And even more confusing is that Gotham Knights claims that it's not in the Arkham universe, but it starts out as a game that seems to be set from the last events of the Arkham universe that we saw in the video game. Basically, that Batman somehow dies and there's some explosion. I mean, yeah, it's different locations in a sense, but again, that's kind of how Arkham Knight ended. There was an explosion somewhere with the thought, or at least the perception, that Bruce Wayne or Batman was already dead. And so that's kind of what's kind of been confusing for a lot of people here in the community. But I think what's going to happen is these new IPs and the way that they're running is more than likely going to shed a little bit of light on what's going on. I think with the way Marvel had already had a bunch of other games being designated to different studios, it provided a little bit of light to what their own, significance was. And the fact that Warner Brothers kind of had a lot of its own eggs in the Batman, Arkham, and, some other DC games that were not necessarily superhero based, or if they were superhero based, they were in the Lego universe. I think now we're going to start seeing a lot more come out into play, because this is something that's necessary for us to be able to establish who's developing what in what worlds. So now we know, according to Rocksteady, they're developing the Suicide Squad game in the Arkham universe. This is quite nice. And we also know right now that the Wonder Woman game is more than likely going to be set in its own universe. I don't know if they should do a crossover. I think they need to leave Wonder Woman in her own universe. Maybe we need to see what she's going to be doing. Perhaps the game will be set in Themyscira, basically a world where they can just take some more freedom and not have to worry a lot about the Justice League elements. Or perhaps they want to set this game up. Oh, let's not even think it, but maybe for a Superman game. This is definitely something that if they're going to be going that direction with her, they need to at least put into consideration. Now, moving on to Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, it was actually very interesting to see that Rocksteady is somewhere in a place that they feel they can start showing off their game more and more. I think right now what we got to see was a lot of the gameplay trailer. I think right now a lot more confidence is beaming from that team with the experience that they have. I think they know in their minds exactly where it is that they know they should be showing off their game. I strongly think we're going to see Suicide Squad this year, at least probably the first of the two games that are going to be releasing. I don't know Gotham Knights right now. We haven't heard anything. We didn't get a trailer, which is interesting because, we've been getting these trailers all over the place. They've been coming in pairs. So when we first saw the Gotham Knights reveal, we saw Suicide Squad as well. And then in the second DC fandom event that just basically got passed this year, we saw both of them again. But the very unique thing was in the Game Awards, we didn't see both of them. We only got to see one. Now, this is somewhat concerning in a sense, But I guess we're probably going to be seeing exactly what goes on because, again, it just seems to me that Rocksteady seems to have a little bit more autonomy than Warner Brothers Games Montreal in the way things work. So they probably are in a position where they can actually make these Batman IPs, but still maintain some level of their own way of doing things, while Warner Brothers Games Montreal might be caught in a mix of some kind of a blender with everything that's going on with Warner Brothers right now. So it's all over the place, folks. And as much as we didn't see the Gotham Knights game, I am super excited that we got to see at least 2 other superhero games in this video game awards. I'm not in any sense disappointed. I'm not even worried. In fact, I think it's high time that we start seeing more DC IPs being developed by other studios in the pipeline. And for those of you who know what Monolith is about, you've played a few of their games, or at least you know the games that they've worked on. And the games that they've worked on have been really solid games. I'm just curious to see what they're going to do with Wonder Woman. I hope they really do a very good job with her. And I'm hoping they make it a single player, third person adventure game where you can basically explore, you can have a good story, you can have good combat. That's something about Wonder Woman that is just epic in terms of who she is. I mean, just her fighting is something that has not necessarily been explored in video games, but in the animated series and in the graphic novels, you've seen her in action. Now, I know she's been in Injustice 1 and 2, but I'm talking about freeform combat. In a competitive fighting game like the Injustice games, you get to see her moves. But to be honest, NetherRealms had a way of doing things in the Injustice games that I think if you had a freeform open world combat, you could see a lot more of her nature. And then the best of the best is it needs to be an RPG game, in my opinion. But all these things will continue for other conversations. I'm really looking forward to talking more about this and hypothesizing and digging deep. Now, Monolith, I'm going to basically just go in and continue to dig deep into what it is that they're doing and keep track of them, because they were very low key. In fact, they put their studio under some website construction thing just to kind of keep everybody in the dark for so many, months at the time. And I'm really glad that they took their time to reveal this game, especially now. But anyways, let's stop this video here. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. I know many are excited about the Wonder Woman game. Hopefully it'll wipe away a lot of the worry for Gotham Knights. And I think it's high time that we just kind of, start to respect and expect other studios that are willing to show things and are willing to talk to the community. And especially now that the superhero genre is going to get more competitive, I hope Gotham Knights is going to kind of, in a sense, its marketing will get its act together and start to put things out for its community. But I'll stop the video here. I just want to say thanks again for watching. I appreciate you guys so much here on the Video Game Fight School channel. Hopefully we'll talk pretty soon. Peace out.